And if you think in those terms, it allows you to really start a new chapter, and it is so freeing that it really is mind-boggling. And to me, it just like took so much of my burden away, like I was lighter in my head.
Yes. Beautiful.
Somebody else is joining?
Oh, Giovanna.
Govina.
Goes by many names.
Oh my goodness.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening, Giovanna. We are live streaming on YouTube, by the way, so I will spotlight myself real quick. I think you are on there briefly, Sue and Giovanna. So let's see here. We may have others join us. I'm showing it's about a minute before 7. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys about the next module of Discovering Buddhism, which is module number 9, and it's Samsara and Nirvana. And we have, as I think maybe all of you know, maybe not though, we have the opportunity to go on site and practice on site with a live teacher on site for this course. So it will start on March 3rd, which is of course a Monday. So we've got a couple weeks break after tonight's class. And then Samsara and Nirvana will run for only 4 weeks. So the 4 Mondays in March. And to register, or actually, let me back up. So you'll have the online option or the in-person option. So if it's online, it's basically what you've got right here, except I'll be in the Kadampa. And so you can tune in either on Zoom or on YouTube as usual. And if you come in person and want to participate in person, there is a separate registration form, and that can be accessed on the website. And you have to upload a proof of vaccination card. And that will include everyone that will be on site. We're going to have limited seating. And so we're just trying to be very COVID cautious and proceed as safely as we can for everyone's benefit. And so we'll have the proof of vaccination required, pre-registration required, so we know who to expect. And mask, of course, required in the building. We'll give ourselves a shot of hand sanitizer as we come into the door. We will sit socially distanced, so there'll be limited seating, but plenty of room in the Kadampa. We won't be passing around the microphones like we used to do pre-COVID. If some of you remember that, most people weren't that crazy about the microphone going around, so we won't be doing that. But if there are questions on Zoom or on YouTube or in person, Hema and I, one of us will repeat the question so that all involved will hear that question and we don't have to pass around microphones. So if there's any questions about that, let me know. If you can't think of any questions right now, but you do later on, of course, just feel free to email me. And again, during that course of Samsara and Nirvana, we will, of course, be monitoring the COVID situation. And if things start to go in the direction we don't want them to go, we'll reassess our in-person. So anyway, let me know if you have questions about that. And I think that I will go ahead and turn it over to Hemant. Hang on just a minute, Hemant. Let me get you spotlighted. Okay, you are good to go.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. And I want to first start by saying thank you for being in the class and being so diligent about attending the classes. And really, it is a pleasure to be able to do this service for Kadampa Center. Truly, I'm very thankful to all the lineage teachers. Linda, if you think about Geshe-la and Geshe Sangpo and the Venerables and the Lama Zopa Rinpoche and all the teachings and the senior students and how this whole program comes together. And if you think about it, even one positive seed goes into your mind, right? So just like no guilt. Think about the benefits of that. It's like a seed of an oak, a little, you put it in the ground, it becomes a big tree, bears many fruits, and then how many seeds are out there, and how many trees will come out of it, right? Same way, Dharma is that way. So I really, really, really appreciate that. Okay, so before we start, as we already know, that we want to ask for those qualities of our teachers and the teachings and the three jewels and the Buddha's blessings in that way, so that our minds are clear. More than blessings personally, it is again changing our mind. So we want to do 3 prostrations, okay, just to humble ourselves. And so just you can do it seated wherever you are. Just do 3 prostrations. Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Sushri Namo Tamashri. Om Namo Manju Shri. Okay, so we're going to do a little calm abiding meditation. So anyways, again, just sit in a position that you're familiar with. It's called Vajrasattva position, a perfect sitting position if you are able to. The main points to consider is your spine is straight. It allows the energy channels to work in your body. Blood flow is easier, better for your nerves and so forth, right? So you want to keep your back straight. And obviously scan the body and make sure everything is comfortable for you. Okay, your legs are folded. If you're sitting in a chair, no problem at all. Just put your feet on the floor properly. Your right hand is on the top of your left hand. Your thumbs are touching. Your shoulders are rounded and open. And that your eyes are slightly closed or slightly open. Lips are slightly touching each other. And your tongue is resting on top of behind your teeth in the top palate. Just relax for a second. Again, this is called Shinei, or placement meditation. It helps us develop concentration. And that's why we choose something neutral like breath. You're breathing in and out all day long. You don't even think about it. However, here this allows you to concentrate a little bit. So what we're going to do is concentrate on your breathing. Breath going in and breath coming out. And if you see yourself getting carried away with a thought, don't get too tight on it. Just slowly bring your mind gently back to your breathing. At this time, invite Shakyamuni Buddha's presence to this place. Seeing his very radiating golden light body and feel the whole room pervaded by this golden light. Please visualize that. Our mind and body are also illuminated by this golden light. And it passes completely through us, bringing illumination to the space, to the entire space. And just bathe in the presence of that golden radiating, energized wisdom light. And then call to your mind our wish to take advantage of the life that we have and to develop the qualities and to be free of any impurities, any obscurations, any suffering. And remembering our wish for freedom, peace, wisdom, and energy. And especially call to mind others whom we want to help. The kinds of suffering that we would like to stop. And the kind of world that we would like to create. And take responsibility to use our life's energy to do exactly that. And then think of your teachers. Ask all your teachers, our teachers, in the aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha, here in this place. Please invite them. And ask them to continue to bless our mind as we receive these teachings, that we may be able to hear exactly what we need to hear at this point in our practice. And that we may be able to put it into practice exactly in the manner in which it is intended for the benefit of all. So at this time, we will keep Shakyamuni Buddha in our minds and we'll continue where we left off when we return at the end of this session. Okay, now bring your minds back to the class. So today is the last class, session 6 of module 8. And so we're gonna bring it all together, okay? At the end, I have a small meditation. We're gonna bring the Buddha back, but we're gonna do a little extensive dedication. So we can hone our energy in that direction so that we can continue our practice, okay? So today we're gonna talk a little bit about integrating Dharma into our lives. Okay, a lot of will be repetitious, however, just emphasizing the fact. Okay. Then we talk just briefly about remembering your precious human rebirth. That Lamrim is our last chance. It's 84,000 teachings of Buddha, structured in a way that is easy to learn and to understand and to help us reach our goal of enlightenment. We will talk about practicing the virtuous actions of body, speech, and mind, and doing it with a joyful effort. Okay? And then develop conviction and faith. We'll continue to protect your mind, and the whole thing ask is never give up. Okay? And when I say that never give up, is because, let me see if I have my next slide. Okay. We'll go back, oops. Never give up is because we in this body and mind, and because of our karmic imprints from past, sometimes we have doubts. You know, we listen to these teachings or Geshe-la speak or read books and say, no, I really don't get it. You know, I don't know if this is all valid. Well, when the doubts arise, it's actually a great tool. They say it's actually not skillful if you say, oh, how stupid I am. I should trust it. I should know it. I should never doubt it. Actually, that is unskillful. But when you have a doubt and you go and analyze it, really deeply analyze it, it will generate experience. Okay? So then you can determine and you should be determined to find the answer. Buddha himself says, test my teachings like gold. Okay? Traditionally, if you were to get a little chunk of gold, they would burn it, cut it, and then rub it, just to make sure it's gold. You're spending a lot of money, you better get some real gold here, right? And then when you're reading something, go deeper, find out whether it's true or not. Even in your Lamrim meditation, they should be dynamic. And then debate yourself. If something comes up in your head, debate it. Let it all come out. For example, say, I really don't believe in lower realms. I think that doesn't resonate with me. So then ask yourself, is it possible? Why not? And bring your mind and think about, well, we've all seen people tortured. Maybe it has some truth to it. It could be even worse. Okay? Or you can say, do I really believe in the continuity of the mind? Oh, deep down in there somewhere says, I think it might all end when I die. Nobody's come back and told me. We may have those doubts. The point is, you need to query that. And when you do that, you start to remove cobwebs of all these doubts. And it becomes your experience. And that's when you generate conviction. Okay? So the teachings, they said, should be experienced, not just read and memorize few words, but should be experienced. It is akin to burning the fire, the gold. You're rubbing it, burning it, right? Making sure it's gold. Same way. You analyze it. It's like cutting it. You're analyzing it. You're comparing it, not contradicting each other. You want to make sure everything is aligned to what you're thinking. Okay? It should make logical sense. It should be in harmony with your own direct experience. And then you check it out. Should be upheld by beings in whom you have faith, your teachers, Dalai Lama. So try to find your own way of checking whether or not they seem to be true or not. They say there are 4 levels of truth or faith. So he's already said that you need to have some conviction in what you're studying and practicing, right? So the first they say is a faith of inspiration, right? So think about it. You see Dalai Lama, so inspiring, isn't it? And you say, that's amazing. That's inspiration. The second one is a faith of aspiration. Okay? Think, wow, I would like to be that way. So that's you're aspiring to be that way. And then you have a faith of engagement. You're already practicing, you're doing some of those things. And you're experiencing them. And at the end, what happens? You have conviction. Because it's your own experience. It's not somebody else's words anymore. Okay? And then learn and think about protecting your mind. Once you have this conviction, there are so many things that take us away from it, right? Remember we talked about magazines when you're at the grocery store and you just want to peek in that People magazine or Time magazine, somebody just got divorced and somebody just lost money and all that stuff. Protect your mind. Think even in the news, all of us, I be included, there's so much going on that you get carried away. Your mind is totally engrossed in that kind of stuff. And what happens? It just generates anger. Right? So just again, something to think about. Instead of me putting blame on others, it's nice to think about how our self-cherishing mind views things as we want to see it. Right? Not all true, what you see. Okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, so how did we get here? Last class, right? I hope that at least you can walk away from this module knowing that it is just meditation and practice is not a sitting session, right? It is way more than that, right? It starts more than just a sitting practice. It begins with going to sleep at night. And if you remember, you go to sleep, maybe right side, thinking you're in the lap of the Buddha, right? Or your teacher, or your deity, all Buddhas, right? And you're thinking about just doing their mantras, thinking about positive things, thinking about good things, thinking about virtuous thoughts. And then you go into sleep. And they say that when you're sleeping, it's pretty similar to the experience of death. Going to sleep, dream state, very much like intermediate state of death. And then waking up, rebirth. Okay, so no fear there. So if you've been practicing, and that's what the story is in your mind, those are the things you've learned and practiced and are used to it, what happens? That's what happens in the dream. So you're practicing in your dream. So it doesn't stop at just in a meditation cushion, but you continue to practice. And then you wake up. Buddha is still there, right? And then he dissolves into you. And then you start with your morning preliminary practice, and I'm going to read a preliminary practice. If you have the manual or the Buddha's meditation, which is this entire piece is based on these teachings, here it says, here's a great preliminary practice. When you get up in the morning, you have to, they say, generate bodhicitta or the right attitude. So when you wake up, you can lay down for a while, as far as you don't fall asleep, and think, how extremely lucky I am that I have not died yet. I'm especially lucky that my death did not occur last night. Consequently, how wonderful and fortunate it is that today I'm still a human being, a state that is extremely rare. But this is not all. I have a perfect human body, which is also extremely rare. I have met the virtuous friend who reveals the unmistaken complete path to enlightenment, who is extremely difficult to meet. And I have met the Buddha Dharma, which is also extremely difficult to meet. Given that I have met all these extraordinary fortunate circumstances, I should not waste my life in any way. I should make my life as useful as possible for infinite other sentient beings. Their peace and happiness depends upon me, and my happiness only received from their kindness. Insofar as my faith fulfills the greatest usefulness for other sentient beings, it becomes a greater means to achieve success and happiness for myself as well. And the purpose of my life is to free all sentient beings from suffering and its causes, that is, negative karma and disturbing thoughts, and to lead them not only to eliminate ultimate happiness of self-liberation, but to peerless happiness of enlightenment as well. This is my responsibility. And it goes on for a couple of more sentences, but you see, it's in there. You can make your own. This is just an example I wanted to read, but you can generate that motivation. How lucky I am to be alive today, that I did not pass away last night. How lucky I am to have precious human rebirth, that I'm born as a human, that I can practice. And the kindness of others, the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the birth you have from your parents, is kindness of others. So think of those things. And then you certainly can get up. Either you can do prostrations of 35 Buddhas at that point, or to confession Buddha, or you can go get yourself a tea, coffee, whatever you want to, and get into your place where you have a little altar. You can do prostrations there, all right? And then you know that you can also do your preliminary and preparatory practices and preliminary practices. And in the end of the session, I will show you the page numbers and all that. So you can see where to find it in the page book. But it's blessing the mantras, blessing your speech, blessing the malas you do, your feet and all that. You can do as much as you want. But Lama Zopa Rinpoche suggests that at least you purify your speech. Do the preliminary practice of purifying your speech, because we speak from our mouth all day long. When you have that in your mind, everything gets perfectly good. You speak good, people listen to you, that kind of stuff. It's got a lot of power in it. You're also mindful of what you say. Okay? And then we do our preparatory practices, right? Obviously, you already know, we'll go through it a little more. I have a slide again to just give you and emphasize it again. I have another slide. But again, your preparatory practices, if you remember them. Why do we do preparatory practices? Can anybody tell me? Anybody? Just a guesswork? We've been talking about it every class, preparatory practices. So why do we do preparatory practices? Don't be shy.
I say, well, you want to have your mind in the right place so that you can receive all the good you can get from your meditation that you're getting ready for. So
That's perfect. That's perfect. It's like this, right? If you play a sport, if you exercise, whatever you do, don't you loosen up first? You just lighten up your body. You make it pliable. Same way, you're about to sit in a meditation session. You're about to go into practicing. So you want your mind to be in a good place, right? So first you start with setting up your altar, cleaning the place. And you remember that story? Dirt be gone, stains be gone. Same way, you're cleansing your mind. You're creating an environment. You're helping your mind. You're cleansing your mind, right? Then you make offering. Earned well, you make beautiful and arranging them properly. Even if it's one flower, even if it's a small thing, or you offer 8, the bowls, water bowls. Do it with heart in it. Make that offering. Offer it up. Okay? Then what is the next one? You can do 3 prostrations like we do in the beginning of the session, just to humble ourselves, and sit down on a meditation cushion. Then you sit down, do a little calm abiding meditation, like a breathing meditation, to just calm your mind. And then you take refuge. Okay? I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by virtue of my marriage practice of the perfections. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Done. Think about those words. May I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And then you do your bodhicitta phrases, how elaborate you want it, or in short, may all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. That means love, right? May all sentient beings be inseparable from happiness that is free from suffering, and that's compassion. So you go through those 4 phrases. In the end, it's equanimity. The third one is joy. May they be inseparable from happiness that is free from suffering, and may all have equanimity, free from attachment from friends and hatred for enemies, right? So you go through setting your bodhicitta, right? And then what do you do after you do? You invoke the presence of your teachers and your deity of practice, Shakyamuni Buddha in our case. You've been practicing it. You invoke them, bring them there, right? And then you do your 7-limb practice. So I'm going to move to the slides before we go to the yoga of work and eating and virtue and closing practices and yoga of sleeping. Let's kind of do even these things a little bit and go back to it. So when you finish when you do your 7-limb prayer and you do the request and you go eat and then you go to work, right? So think about it, even work, no matter what job you do, you are servicing in some way or the other. Now, you also practice. You may get a bad day when your boss is yelling at you or somebody's saying sending you a rough email, right? You can practice that. You can practice that, you know what? I must have done something, my karma, I bring some results of my karma. Knowing that this is happening to you, what actions can I take now so I can change that? It becomes a practice. And then you walk around, and when you open the door, you may want to say, may I open the door to enlightenment for all others. May all the heavy birth beings be free from the hell realms. As I open the door, I free them all. When you close the doors, you can think about, may all the doors to the lower realms be shut forever. You get off the cushion from your meditation, may I bring beings up from the lower realms. You see how you are putting these thoughts in your head continuously. While bathing, while prostrating, driving a car, I like this one. May I guide all beings in the great vehicle. And remember, you have the spiritual roadmap. You have the Lam Rim Chenmo. We have the liberation in palm of your hand. It is step-by-step guide all the way to enlightenment. There, if you remember, everything is divided, the Lam Rim is divided into 3 scopes: the lower scope, middle scope, and the large scope. Again, the first scope prepares you, right? It talks about the Guru devotion, mind, but it starts really with the precious human rebirth. It makes you really think it through. Then death and impermanence. Then the lower realms. And then you get prepped and say, oh my goodness, I want to do something about it. So you take refuge. Then you learn about karma. And then you get to the other second scope and you learn more about samsara. And why do we keep on coming back again and again and again? And how do you free yourself? And you generate this mind that I don't want to do it again. I want to really liberate myself. And then you realize that you are still a human and you are in this body and mind. And so you want to practice the practice of generosity and morality and patience, and you do it with a joyful effort, develop concentration, and ultimately understand the nature of emptiness, the reality. So this is a journey, and you must question yourself. Are you truly understanding what you're embarking on and why? And commit to it and have conviction in it, have faith in it. So strongly think through that and practice accordingly. And remember the goal. I had this in the last class. Your goal is to become Buddha, to benefit others. Right? Buddha is not sitting in Buddha, mind of a Buddha, the enlightened mind is amazing. It's called omniscient mind, knowing everything, not judgmental, not he, she, it. It just knows. Okay? And then you have the omnipotent mind, has the power and effortless ability to do whatever needs to be done, has infinite compassion. That's your goal. You can become a Buddha. Again, to re-emphasize, this is a very broad suggestion by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Your preliminary practices we talked about, prostrations and daily practice. Do a little bit of Guru Yoga. We'll go through that a little bit, a Lam Rim prayer. You can recite some mantras. Then you wear your Lam Rim glasses, right? In the day, do those phrases. Some people like to put some phrases all over the rooms and in the car and some other places. Some people like tattoos, whatever inspires you to continue to practice. And if you're practicing precious human rebirth or impermanence and death, those are the glasses you wear all day. And look at the world, okay? How impermanent things are. Things are changing all the time. Even ourselves, we are not the same people that we were a few years ago. We are changing. Our bodies are changing. The buildings are changing. The roads are changing. The carpet is changing. Right? Everything is changing. So it's going to continue that way. So have that in your mind. Then you've come back home, you're tired, don't know everybody's routine, but whatever you do, maybe at some point you sit back, do a little bit of reading, just general reading, learn some topic, learn a topic in Lam Rim, or do a little reading. Of course, it says, Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, prostrations to 35 Buddhas. I can tell you, even for myself, at the end of the day, I am so pooped out. I don't have the energy to do 35 confession Buddha. But it is true, even if you do 2 or 3 prostrations and go through the entire prayer, the prostration of physical bowing down sometimes gives you that energy, and you might even do more. Or sometimes if you just simply can't, you can read it, or do Shakyamuni Buddha's mantra. Do something like that. It's always helpful. Obviously, before going to bed, you want to do some purification practice. You want to use the 4 opponent powers. What are those? Anybody can tell me? Giovanna, you know the 4 opponent powers? Okay, don't worry, just if it comes to your mind, say it, otherwise don't worry about it. I'm not checking you guys out. I just want some level of thinking through it. So for example, the 4 R's, regret, right? So we don't have guilt, we regret if we did something. And what do? We rely on something. What do we rely on? The 3 gems, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We rely on them, don't we? Right? And we rely on the refuge that we've taken. So that's called reliance, that we have all this available. Buddha's teachings are there. We've taken refuge, we have committed. So I want to really have that firmness in me that I will rely on this. And I regret I did something I shouldn't have done, but I'm going to move on. Third one, you want to find a remedy, an antidote, work on it. My nature is certain things happen and triggers of this thought, all automatically, right? And at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know why I do this all the time. It must be a habit from I don't know how many lives. So I regret it. I rely on my teachings. And I said, you know what? Tomorrow I'll do something opposite to fight that. I'll find an antidote. If I took something, I'll give it back. If I said something nasty, pick up the phone and say, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean it. Yeah, something. And then the last piece is resolve. Resolve to continue to remove those things from your life and make it virtuous. 4 R's. Regret, rely, remedy, and a resolve not to do it. Okay? Then you do the Vajrasattva practice. Once you do that in front of the Vajrasattva father and mother, and you absolutely say this out loudly, and then you do the purification practice, and in the end, Vajrasattva comes into you, mother and father, and says, I am there for you. You have been purified. You visualize that, sit there, remove it from your mind if you've done something. Make sure we try not to do it again. And you purify. Now, with that clear mind, right? Now you go to sleeping yoga in the lap of your deity, of chosen deity. They're all Buddhas, just different practices. And think about it. You dedicate everything that you've thought about in all day long. You're honing that and directing your motivation into dedication. So you continue to do that. And then you go to sleep in the lap of your teacher or your deity or your Buddha. And then hopefully some of those positive thoughts culminate into positive dreams. And when you wake up, Buddha is still there. Do your preliminary motivation, how lucky I am to be alive and practice Dharma. And go on to do your normal practice again. Okay, so what my whole point was, if you don't get anything from this whole session, take one thing away, that the practice is not for 1 hour, 15 minutes. Anything is better than none. However, when you're truly trying to change your mind, you're practicing all the time. And joyfully. If you look at this as a burden, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. That's not the right state of mind. If you have the urgency, think of death and impermanence. Death can come any time. It is definite. Time is uncertain. What will happen then? If you bring that thought in your head, and how rare this precious human rebirth is. How rare it is to get Buddha Dharma. How rare it is to find precious teachers. And what is Dharma? That which holds you back from suffering. It is contradictory to happiness, right? You want happiness. So if you want happiness, then you should be joyful. But, again, you weave these things slowly. Make it fun. Don't make it like a chore. Okay, if you can't do it someday, fine. Don't worry about it. Just do some mantras. And you know what I find? There are days I just simply can't get to it. Okay, phone call comes 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I start talking, late for shower, late for food. Things don't go. But then sometime in the morning, I'll do some mantras. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And I start to think about what would I have done if I would have practiced in the morning when I'm doing the mantras. And all of a sudden you'll find yourself slipping into meditation. It's amazing. What is mantra? One that protects your mind. Right? So you see these tools, how you have these tools, but if you make this part of your daily thought, daily practice, it's amazing how wonderful it feels afterwards. And when the learning part is over and now you can say mantras or stanzas in your mind, now your mind is free to visualize and see things, and the words are just there. That's when you start to really get this blissful feeling. And again, Geshe-la says, when you're meditating, 5 minutes. When you're feeling good, time to get up. Okay? So that. Okay, qualities of Buddha, so we saw that. It wants to go back again and again. It wants me to make sure I say that again, I guess. So quickly reviewing the 6 preparatory practices, please think through this. You should know this. You're doing this to prepare your mind for the meditation. You should know these. Cleaning the place and setting up the altar. Any question on how to set up the altar? Everybody should know now. In the center is your Buddha, left is your holy books, right side a little thing of stupa. You can have images, does not have to be very fancy, but simple, and you can make it as fancy as you want. You put your teachers there, and a place to offer some things. Then you arrange obtaining offerings, offering them honestly and doing it beautifully. Then you sit in a meditation posture, generating minds of refuge and bodhicitta. Then you invoke your teachers and your Buddha. Bring them in front of you, in your mind. Then you offer them a 7-limb prayer. Now you're seated in your you already bowed down 3 times and you're sitting down in your meditation cushion. You've done a little bit of breathing exercise. Your mind is calm and ready for meditation. So then you do a 7-limb prayer mentally. This is a prayer. I reverently prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and visualize that you're prostrating. I present clouds of all things actual and imagined, making these beautiful offerings in your mind. Right? Then you do little confession. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since the beginning of times and rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. So you're rejoicing. Please remain until the end of samsara, right? So you're telling your teachers to stay and teach you. And turn the wheel of Dharma for all beings. So again, you're asking them to continue to teach, and then you dedicate. And each of those words, each of those sentences, each of those stanzas are a remedy to different things, like prostrating, remedy to pride. You know, our ego says, I don't bow down to anybody. But think you're bowing down to the qualities that you are inspired by, qualities you want. See, if you're a miser and you make offerings, you're giving it up. See, if you have disturbing thoughts, when you confess, you're out of your mind, out of your chest. You're a jealous type person. By rejoicing in other person's happiness, you also minimize jealousy. But see, so you understand, it's written there, you can read it, but it's very important that you understand these. Any questions on these? And then when you do some reading, you can read many different things. I just mentioned few. I am particularly attracted to Heart Sutra because of emptiness. I've been there where Heart Sutra was taught in India. I've been to that mountain Rajagira. I could visualize how Buddha would be sitting there. There's a little brick thing sitting there, and we did Heart Sutra there with all, when our venerables went with us, a couple of people, our Sangha members, and also Geshe Sangpo, who led the pilgrimage. We went there. And so I have a visualization of the place, so I'm very connected with Heart Sutra. But if you do the other Vajrasattva or the Diamond Sutra, it's also very, very fantastic one for learning emptiness. There are other sutras like Golden Light Sutra about awe-inspiring stories of Buddha's previous lives and so forth. These are all inspirational, very beautiful teachings. And you can get them from FPMT. Okay. So let's go through this here. So this is not inclusive of everything, but let's walk through this. Everybody familiar with the morning? So you've gone to sleep and you wake up, right? The Buddha dissolves into you. You kind of lay there and go through your preliminary motivation. How lucky I am to be alive, right? Make something up in your mind. I have a precious human rebirth. I found Buddha Dharma, which is so rare. I found precious teachers. And I want to be kind to others because their kindness has helped me, not only now, but through many lives. That's why we call them mother sentient beings. And then, you do your preliminary practices, even before you even sit down for meditation, you can do this small one-liner mantras that you have to bless the mantra, to bless your practice. They say when you say those words, it multiplies your mantras 1,000-folds, 100,000-folds. So I always like that. It's like merit in the bank, more the merrier, right? Blessings of your mala, ruchi ramani pravartayahum. Simple words. You practice those things. You can read it. It's all in the book. It's all in your, you can see the pages there. It's in your prayer book. Okay. Mantra for blessing the feet and speech specifically. Lama Zopa Rinpoche suggests that at least you do those. There are the vowels and the consonants in the heart mantra that go around this letter Om. Okay. Then you may choose to go and either do 35 confession Buddha practice then, or you can go and set up your altar and then do your 35 confession Buddhas. And then obviously you want to do your 6 preparatory practices, which everybody should at least know by now what they are, right? Cleaning the place, setting up the altar, right? Making the offerings, all of those things, you should know them. Then when you're doing the meditation, you want to do a little Guru devotion. It is recommended you do it every single day. In our case, we did Sakyamuni Buddha as Guru devotion. If you have a teacher, you can bring teacher there. And sometimes a Guru devotion is great right before you make your requests. Making requests is one of your 6 preparatory practices. And you're requesting that if you don't have a teacher, that you're requesting that you find one. Heartfelt request. Isn't it wonderful that you can have somebody that's your friend, that can guide you, that can hold your hand, that can say, I know your mind, you should do this, you should do that. This is what's coming in your way. Let's practice this. Without any expectations, they want to help you. And if you don't have one, make a request that you find one soon. And then you do Guru devotion. There's plenty of ways to do Guru devotion. There's plenty of places in your golden prayer book. There are booklets out there to do Guru devotion, how to do it. You can do a small one, but even minimum, if you just do those requests and wish for a good teacher and teachings so that they may guide you towards your enlightenment, is also doing a little Guru devotion. Then, of course, you want to do your Lamrim prayers. Okay, you can do the foundation of all good qualities, very short, goes through the entire Lamrim. We talked about glance meditations. There's a glance meditation in your prayer book, actually. Okay, so you can do that. And of course, in the Lamrim prayer, first you get familiar with it, then choose a topic. And even when you choose a topic, think through it first. And just take one or two sentences that are applicable, and that becomes your meditation. Not alone, not everything's got to be done perfect. Make it your experience. Precious human rebirth, impermanence and death, taking refuge, karma. Take a topic, choose one area, and think through it. And then you almost every time should also do a little bit of meditation on emptiness. So we'll do that a little bit today when we do our meditation at the end. But what you want to do is that when you're done with your meditation, and then when Buddha is actually, after you finish your mantra for Shakyamuni Buddha, Tayata Mune Mune Mahamune Soha, you absorb the Shakyamuni Buddha comes to your head and it dissolves into you, right? At that point, you kind of transform that golden light that comes from Buddha. And then you say the mantra again, Om Tayata Mune Mune Mahamune Soha. And then this light goes out from that mantra outside, and it blesses and everything that you can think about in the universe. Makes it so positive, makes things better, good. Okay, and then that light comes back into you again and gets smaller and smaller and smaller till it disappears. And then you're left with this complete bliss in your mind. And at that point, there is no I. There is no Sue, there is no Giovanna, there is no Hemant, there is no Linda. You just sit quietly. You just see how everything is peaceful, quiet. So you can practice even emptiness that way. Though you haven't taken the advanced classes yet, you can bring in a little bit of that bliss and void in you through practicing emptiness. A little bit of that is good every day. Then you go about doing your mantras. Maybe people have different commitments, or if you don't have any commitments, no problem. You can do some Mani Padme Hum, Medicine Buddha. You can do Tara, Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha, all Buddha mantras. Beautiful practices. Throughout the day, just weave them in. And then don't forget later on to dedicate everything you do. You can do a short dedication. And they say that the King of Prayer is one of the largest, very beautiful, beautiful dedication. But they say that we do 2 stanzas in our short dedication that puts the entire King of Prayers into those 2 paragraphs. And if you remember from if you attend the Sunday classes, they will say something that, just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too have realized as things are, I too dedicate my merits in the best way so that I may follow their perfect example. And then it follows by saying, I dedicate all these fruits of virtues. With dedication, praise as the best. By the virtuous one thus gone of the 3 times, so I may perform good work. Even those 2 stanzas have all the power of the entire King of Prayers. Simple things like that, you can learn and practice and memorize them, few words, and you'll be amazed how powerful they are. Okay? And so you dedicate. And during the day, we already know. Now you've already practiced, your mind is clear, you've done some meditation, you've done your preparatory practices, you've recited the mantras, you've done some lamrim, and then guess what? You go to your work. It's again time to practice. Have a bad day, think about it. It must be karmic, and I must have done something to have this in front of me, but what actions can I take to change this now? So you see how you're taking the appearances and turning them positive, so you're practicing. You come back in the evening, take your break, have your meal, whatever you do your evening practice, however it fits you properly, but at least do some prayers, some reading. At the end, you want to do a little bit of purification. Maybe you want to use the thought transformation reading, and then you have to do your eating yoga, and don't forget your eating yoga, how you do Oma Hum, and it turns into nectar. It turns into this beautiful light, goes and collects all those. First you turn it into nectar, Oma Hum, food turns into nectar. You offer it up, Make sure your teachers are involved and they're eating and partaking this nectar. It comes back into the food. Now you intake that nectar into you, into the Buddha that is already in your heart, and it dissolves and you take that nectar. Very quick. It's within a couple of seconds you can do Om Ahum and visualize the nectar going out there. Blessing, the food is blessed, goes out there, takes the quality, brings it back. Teachers have eaten, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all the sentient beings, if you want to think about it. And this nectar is now going to the Buddha in your heart and it's blessing you. It takes few seconds. Sounds longer speaking than actually doing it even. And then you dedicate, and then you do your sleeping yoga. As you advance in different classes and knowledge, you can weave all these things in. Believe me, this doesn't, it seems it takes a long time. It is not that long. And here's the funny part. Somebody asked Lama Zopa Rinpoche, they said, Lama, I am too busy in the morning. I have to get to work. I have children to take to class. I have to do this, I have to do that. Can you please give us some idea of how I can incorporate this practice? So you would expect that he was going to think through and tell you what to do and when to do. And he sits quiet and says, wow. He says, well, I have a suggestion, get up early. And that was it, thank you. So it depends on how important it is for you. But if you start to do it, you'll be amazed that it doesn't take that long. It sounds long when you read through it and you think you got to read all of that stuff. No, small things, 1 line, 2 lines, a stanza. Just meditate, quiet your mind down. Do a little bit of practice on impermanence or something like that. Think through it, debate it, argue it, make sure it becomes an experience, dedicate. Read a bit, when you're sitting down, read some Lamrim book or some nice teachings. You can weave that in as you wish you want to do. You don't have to always follow this regimented things, and do it with joyful effort. Any questions? And then remember, when your practice is not working, sometimes you just get no energy. That's time to accumulate some merits. Helping out, being kind, helping Sangha members, helping Linda, Dana, however you can do, you can create merits. And then sometimes things are just not going your way, things are blank, you can't visualize, you need some obstacles are there, you can do some purification practices. And remember, the most powerful, heartfelt request. Request that your teachers be there. Request that your teacher help you. Request that Buddha, if you don't have a teacher, his teachings come to your mind. Very powerful practices when you want to come through obstacles. So remember those. So we already talked about this. Making heartfelt request. When you're studying emptiness, when you can't think about it, or it's too difficult, the words are just blah, 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 it's not going through the thick head. That's when you know you need to make a heartfelt request. You need a teacher. They can manifest in many, many forms. It doesn't have to always be a Rinpoche in a certain clothing. Teachers come in different various ways. They're willing to help you. And you will see that your practice will go even further. And then last thing I want to say is, before I go to the importance of a retreat, once in a while, every year, go for a little retreat. Take a weekend, go away in a nature walk, go to a park, stay in a little cabin somewhere. And it will take you to a whole nother level, different level, when you are in that environment and you can think through all of these things. No phones, no TV, no iPads. It gives you this strong energy, right? And it develops deeper experiences when you're out there in the nature. Okay, so do that sometimes. I'll take a few minutes before we go into meditation. Quick questions. Anybody can tell me what the 6 preparatory practices are? Name some at least. Who wants to take a chance?
Since we have such a small group, just unmute yourself and have at it. Oh, I see Sue unmuted.
Cleaning the altar.
Fantastic. Give me one or two more.
Making the offerings.
Fantastic.
Getting into your meditation posture. Invoking a merit field. What else? What else?
7-limb prayer and making requests. And when you sit in the meditation posture, you take refuge and generate bodhicitta. Okay, fantastic. Please, 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 whenever you do practice every day, these are important. Okay, very, very nice. Okay, name and describe the 7 limbs of the 7-limb prayer. Anybody remember them? I reverently prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, prostration. I make offering, actuals and imagined, right? So the offering. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since the beginning of times, and I rejoice in the merits of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for all living beings. I dedicate all my merits. So what are they? You are prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting to stay and teach, right? And then dedicating. Okay, part of your mental, those are prayers, and they're in the prayer book. How do you know what meditations to do and when structuring your daily practice? We've talked about doing Lamrim prayers. We have talked about foundation of good qualities and choosing one topic from a precious human rebirth or impermanence and go deeper into it, right? And you can do it in the morning when you're doing your meditation. You can do a little bit in the evening, whenever, but when you're specifically sitting down, you are following Lama Zopa Rinpoche in your readings, and Pabonka Rinpoche at the end of your readings has given entire ways how to do your meditations on Guru devotion, on emptiness, on Guru Puja. So if you're looking at that, that's how you would structure it according to Lamrim topics. Okay. So describe some activities you can do between sessions as part of an effective daily practice and what is important.
I'm going to chime in. How about invoking the Lamrim in your daily activities, opening doors, getting up, that sort of thing?
Yep, that's very good. You can even take it further and say you accumulate merit by helping others, right? Helping the Sangha members, be kind to people. So very good. Those things you said also are good. You can do purification practice. You can do heartfelt request. Those Lamrim glasses. Remember, you're looking through the Lamrim glasses, and just those are all things you can do. So describe some activities you can do in between sessions, as we already talked about: yoga of sleeping, yoga of waking up, yoga of eating, remembering those thought transformation verses. You can do a walking meditation. You talked about the glasses, reciting mantras, prayer wheels. We went through all of these things at some point in the classes, but many different ways you can do practice all day long. Okay.
Thich Nhat Hanh says, when I'm doing the dishes, I'm doing the dishes. It's like that. And Satchel Paige actually said, when I eat, and when I sleep, I sleep. It's the idea of mindfulness of what you're doing in every moment. It's difficult to achieve, but it's the aspiration and the goal worth striving for.
Yep. Inspiration, aspiration, engaging, all great. And having conviction in it. So we already know what is Lama Zopa Rinpoche's advice to discovering Buddhism students in terms of how to practice in the morning and evening. We already know that. We went through that. You're getting up from the sleep and preliminary practices, doing that preliminary motivation, 6 preparatory practices, 7-minute prayers, right? Doing a meditation on Lamrim or Guru Yoga or whatever, yoga of sleeping, yoga of eating, coming back in the evening, all of those things you can talk about that in. So the last question, has this module been of benefit to you? Was this helpful?
I'll say, Hemant, that, so this is Linda, just going through this again is, there's so many lists in Buddhism, the 6 preparatory practice, the 4 R's, and on and on. And I cannot remember them. So hearing it, repeatedly and seeing it over and over again helps make it stick. So thank you.
My pleasure. And again, the idea is not to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any of those things. Idea is to change your mind. These are just tools. How many times, if I look at it this way, if you are inviting a guest in your house, would you vacuum sometimes? Would you say, would you like a cup of tea? Glass of water? We do that all the time. Why not? To purify, to do practice of our mind. So you can do those analogies that fit you. This is not, the idea is not to do this 20 things every day or anything like that. It's very general, but this helps your mind according to our teachers, Lamrim Chenmo, Hobonka Rinpoche. This is what they have suggested. This is what Buddha had suggested. So that's why they are taught that way. But once you know these are on automatic. When you drive first time, you have to remember where the gears are, where to put it on a drive. How do you look? Where do you hold the steering? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna remember everything. But now when you drive, do you think of those things? No, you just drive it. Same way. Okay? So you've gone through all these meditations, just so you are aware of it, that we did all of this meditation. I have this in case anybody wants to click a picture. These are all the different prayers in the prayer books. So it's easier for you to go to the pages if you want to practice. Okay. And we're going to start the meditation now, okay? So remember that we left the Buddha on just hanging there for a while. So the meditation is going to be short, but we're going to do extensive dedication and then close, okay? Okay, so again, just take a little deep breath. Get your mind in the right place. Make sure your spine is straight. Sakyamuni Buddha is already here since we've invoked him earlier. But we'll just remember that the presence of the pure enlightenment, all of our teachers, all guides and protectors, all merging into the aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha. In our heart, we have that sincere request to always be guided and be protected by this energy. And especially that we ourselves might quickly be transformed into enlightened ones ourselves, perfectly what is needed to help others. And wishing to be free from all of that prevents us from attaining enlightenment. And wishing to receive all the blessings of the realization of the path. So we make this request to Shakyamuni Buddha to bless our minds. He comes to the crown of our head. And as we recite the mantra, we visualize a purifying stream of white nectar and light showering down on us, removing all the impurities, all negatives and mental veils, all obstacles to generating the realizations of the path within our mind stream. Tayatha, Om, Mune Mune, Mahamune Soha. A final purifying stream comes down, cleansing our body and mind. All negativities are washed away, and our body and mind are calm and clear like crystal. As we recite the mantra again, a golden light and beams of nectar pour forth from Shakyamuni Buddha's body and mind, blessing our mind stream with all the qualities and realizations of the enlightenment. Tayatha, Om, Mune Mune, Maha Mune Soha. Shakyamuni Buddha then melts into the stream of golden light and enters the crown of our head and descends into our heart, becoming inseparably mixed with our body and mind. And our body and mind become pervaded by this golden light. And we are clarified in the aspect of Shakyamuni Buddha, a fully enlightened one. From wish to benefit all beings, we recite the mantra again, sending out streams of golden light from our heart through every pore of our body, reaching out to all living beings in all the different realms of existence, blessing their mind and freeing them from suffering and bringing them into perfect happiness and transforming all environments into pure land. Tayatha Mune Mune, Maha Mune Soha. All beings and their environment melt into this golden light. Which absorbs into our heart. Our body and mind are pervaded by this golden light, becoming smaller and smaller and smaller until we completely disappear. And no I to be found anywhere. And from this state, from a wish to benefit others, our mind takes the form of a shaft of golden light, which grows in size, taking the shape and form of our own bodies, and we arise as a pure light beings, abiding in the world solely for the purpose of benefiting others. This is me. And then we dedicate all the positive energy from that effort we made over this course. So dedication. As a result of all my merits, my own merits of the 3 times, and the merits of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and sentient beings, may the altruistic wish to achieve enlightenment be generated in my mind, in the minds of all sentient beings without even a second's delay. And may that altruistic wish that has already been generated be increased. And then whatever suffering sentient beings experience, may it ripen on me. Whatever merit and its resulting happiness I have accumulated, may it ripen on others. And in the land of encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and goodness. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, His Holiness, Please remain until the samsara ends. May the glorious Guru's lives be long and stable. May all beings equaling the extent of the space have happiness. And may I and others without exception accumulate merit and purify negativities. And may we be blessed to quickly attain Buddhahood. And due to these merits of the 3 times created by me and others, and by the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, may we be able to meet perfectly qualified Mahayana virtuous friends in all our lives. From our side, may we always see them as enlightened. May we always perform only actions most pleasing to the holy mind of the virtuous friends. And may we always be able to fulfill their holy wishes immediately. And because of these merits, may my actions never cause even the slightest harm to any sentient beings. And due to all these merits of the 3 times accumulated by me and others, merely by seeing, hearing, remembering, touching, or talking to me, may any being be freed in that very second from all their suffering, diseases, spirit harms, negative karmas, and obscurations, and abide in peerless happiness of full enlightened form forever. Like Lama Tsongkhapa, may I be able to offer extensive benefits equaling the limitless sky to all sentient beings and the teachings of the Buddha from now in all future lives by having all the qualities of Lama Tsongkhapa within me. And just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, I dedicate all these virtues in the best way that I may follow after them. And whatever dedication and the victorious ones gone to bliss have dedicated, of the 3 times have admired as the best, I shall also perfectly dedicate in the same way all these roots of virtues, so that I may perform good works. And because of the past, present, and future merit created by me and by the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and sentient beings, may I, my family, disciples, all sentient beings be able to actualize completely in this very lifetime. And because of all these merits of the 3 times, may there be no wars, famine, quarreling, fighting, or unhappy minds. May there be great prosperity, and may everything needed be easily obtained. May all human beings in the world be guided by spiritual leaders and teachings in Dharma. And may everyone enjoy the happiness of Dharma. And may everyone have perfect conditions. It is only from the kindness of my gurus that I have met the unequal teachings of the Buddha, and I dedicate all this merit so that all migratory beings, without exceptions, may be guided in the future by kind and holy gurus. And until samsara ends, may these teachings that benefit not be moved away by the winds of evil superstitions. May the whole world always be filled with people who have understood and found faith in the true teachings. And may I pass time day and night thinking and examining what means this teaching can spread in the minds of all sentient beings. Final dedication. Also spending a moment in silence to send out all this positive energy to those we know of at this time, or especially in need. May they receive all the benefits of this effort. May their minds abide in peace. May they be free from fear, and may they only have happiness and the causes of happiness in their minds. And may anyone who hears this teaching thinks about this teaching, reads this teaching, or remembers this teaching, or comes into contact in any way with these teachings, in that moment, may they be freed from all suffering, and may they achieve their highest goals and quickly become exactly what is needed to benefit all. Thank you. Just a quick quote from Chandrakriti. You've gone through the module of establishing a daily practice. And remember, you have a precious human rebirth. It is your, I shouldn't say duty, but it's your practice. You should consider that. And just know it comes from our precious teachers, lineage teachers, all the way from Atisha, Lama Tsongkhapa, Gyaltsen Je, Kedrup Je, all the way to all the Dalai Lamas and Panchen Lamas and Karmapas and all the Gelug teachings, all the way to Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Kenshu Rinpoche and our loving Geshe-la, Geshe Sangpo, all the venerables, teachers and senior students is coming to us. How lucky we are. And I thank you with that.
Thank you, Hemant.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you,
Thank you
Hank
so
and
much.
Linda. Yes.
Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
so
and Hemant.
much.
Linda, thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, look forward to seeing you guys in a couple more weeks or 3 more weeks, March 3rd, either on Zoom or in person
Good.
or on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Look forward to getting
Thank you,
back to
Hemant,
the
for the teaching. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Linda.
Thank you, Hemant. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you guys. Kurt, Sue,
Yeah.
Giovanna, Michael, all of you guys,
Yeah.
whoever is on there, I can't see anybody. Thank you again.